Welcome back to the Book Digest. Today, we're jumping into a really powerful one, Your Next 5 Moves by Greg Dinkin and Patrick Bet-David. This book is a total game changer, so let's get right into it. So the whole book hinges on this one big idea. What really separates the absolute top performers from everybody else? It's not just about working hard. It's about a unique kind of vision. We're talking about the ability to see the board, to see the future, not in some mystical way, but by actually planning out several steps ahead. Let's dig into what that actually means.
See, most of us, if we're being honest, we're only thinking 1, maybe 2 moves ahead. We're in this constant state of reaction, right? Something happens, we react. It's usually driven by emotion, by fear, by whatever is happening right now. But the greats, they're playing a completely different game. They're proactive, they have a long-term strategy, and because of that, they're not just playing the game, they're actually shaping the outcome.
Okay, but why 5 moves? Why not 2 or 10? Well, think about it. If you're only planning 1 move ahead, you're always just reacting. But if you try to plan, say, 20 moves ahead, you'll get totally stuck. That's analysis paralysis. You're so busy thinking you never actually do anything. So 5 is that magic number. It's the sweet spot. It gives you enough foresight to be strategic without getting bogged down. And this isn't just some abstract theory, you guys. Look at the real world. You've got Magnus Carlsen becoming a chess grandmaster at just 13 years old. How? Because he wasn't just looking at the next move, he was seeing the entire board. Or take Kobe Bryant. At that same age, he literally made a list of every single player ranked higher than him and then came up with a plan to take them down one by one. It's that exact same long game thinking you see in people like Elon Musk and Warren Buffett, who are always out strategizing competitors focused on the short term. All right, so let's dive into the first move. And this one is the foundation for everything else. Because before you can even think about conquering the world, you have to master yourself. All great strategy, it starts right here, with self-awareness. So the book puts this really simple but massive question front and center. Who do you want to be? And look, this isn't some fluffy philosophical thing. Your answer to this question becomes your North Star. It's the compass for every single decision you make from here on out. If you don't know the answer, you're basically just guessing, stumbling around in the dark.
Okay, so knowing who you want to be gives you a direction. But what gives you the drive? The thing that keeps you going when it gets really, really hard. The book points to something kind of counterintuitive, but so powerful. Using your pain as fuel. The idea here is that your strongest, most sustainable motivation isn't going to come from happy thoughts. It comes from taking all the tough stuff from your past, the setbacks, the injustices, and channeling it. That pain, it can become this incredible, unstoppable source of energy.
So once you've got your internal compass sorted, you know who you are and what's driving you, the next step is to sharpen your mind. Move 2 is all about mastering how you reason. It's about making better decisions, especially when you're under pressure and things aren't clear. And one of the biggest traps the book warns us about is binary thinking. Seeing everything as just yes or no, black or white. The world is way more complex than that, right? So the framework here is simple. First, you identify all the different factors at play. Then you weigh all the competing interests. You have to force yourself to see the gray areas. But then, and this is key, you still have to act decisively. You gather the info, see the complexity, and then you make a call with conviction. All right, so you've worked on yourself, you've sharpened your thinking. Now it's time to look outward. Because, let's be real, you can have the greatest vision in the world, but you are not going to build anything truly big all by yourself. And this brings us to move 3, which is just so crucial. It sounds simple, but it is everything. The quality of the people around you will ultimately determine your success. We're talking about your team, your partners, your mentors. They aren't just there to help. They are the most important variable in the entire equation. But here's the thing, building a team isn't just about looking at a resume and hiring for skills. No, it's a much deeper game. It's about psychological alignment. It's about really getting what makes each person tick, learning how to read people, and building that genuine trust that just makes everything move faster and smoother. Okay, so you've got the right people on the bus. Now what? The next move is all about creating the right environment for that team to win and win big. This is where you go from just having a functioning business to actually building something that can scale exponentially. And the book is crystal clear on this one point, and it's something we see all the time. A business gets some early wins, revenue starts climbing, and then the whole thing implodes. Why? Because, as the slide says,
Growth without systems is just chaos. If your money is growing faster than your ability to handle it, you don't have success, you have a mess. Move 4 is all about building those solid systems, that infrastructure that lets you actually handle the growth you're creating.
So let's recap. You've mastered yourself, your thinking, your team, and your systems for growth. You are now ready for the final move. This is about mastering the power plays. This is how you win the game, especially when you're the underdog. So, how exactly do you get that edge when you're outgunned and outmanned? Well, to make this point, the book turns to let's just say a very unlikely and pretty controversial source for its lessons. And let's be super clear here. This is not about glorifying criminals, not at all. It's a purely strategic breakdown. The book uses the mob as a case study for one reason, to show how a small, tight-knit, fiercely loyal group with a clear set of rules can run circles around a much bigger, slower, more bureaucratic enemy. The takeaway here is all about strategy and organizational cohesion. It has nothing to do with the business they were in. So when you put it all together, you can see these 5 moves aren't just a random checklist. They're a sequence, a full-on playbook where each step builds on the one before it. You start with knowing yourself, clarity of identity. Then you master your thinking, clarity of thought. Then you build your team, clarity of alliance. Then you build your systems, clarity of process. And only then do you get to master the game, clarity of strategy. You really can't skip the steps.
And I think the most powerful message in the entire book is this. Thinking 5 moves ahead is not some superpower that only a few geniuses are born with. It is absolutely a skill that you can learn. It's a way of looking at the world that's available to anyone who's willing to put in the work, which, of course, leaves us with that one big question right there in front of you.